Hi, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can get notifications when I post something new. Like, share, and subscribe. Okay, so I'm going to do kind of a tutorial style project share. This is the Witch Please group swap. It's a make one or make two. I'm only making one because I don't have the time to make two, and it's going to be expensive because of what I'm using. Plus shipping and all that. So anyways, so you have to make a layered MDC, a sequins mix, a beaded item or bead mix. Make a set of embellishment for each of the following items. So you got to have potion bottles, brooms, cauldrons, and witch hats, and these have to be a set of 2 embellishments. Package your swap in a witchy way: cauldron, hat, boot, spellbook. So what I am going to do is use this paper pad, and you guys are going to work on it with me. So I'm getting ready to go pick my kids up from school in a half an hour. So I'm going to record this part and show you what I'm doing, and then I'll make it go faster so you're not like watching the whole thing. It's like watching paint dry, right? So this is the paper pad I'm using. It's from Recollections, and I believe I got this in 2024. Wait, is there a date on these things? I don't think so. But anyways, it's called the Green Witch, and I am going to use this. It's already a previous used paper pad, so there are sheets missing, but I save all my scraps, and I have them all set over here on the side, and I'm flipping through and finding what I want to use. And I have decided that I want to use this one for my packaging. So it says a little green magic goes far, but it's simple, yet it's cute to me. You know what I mean? So if you fold this in half, it's going to work for this. This is what I'm going to package it in. So this came from Hobby Lobby, and it is a 3-piece set, but I'm only going to use one, the big one. I'm going to keep the smaller 2 here for later projects or something. So these 2, they're cute. I could use them. I like them, but I'm going to keep these for a later project. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to paint around just the outside part so that when I put my paper down, that it's like a matted finish. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be painted black, but I'm only going to paint so far in. I'm not going to paint the entire thing, if that makes sense. And then if I fold this in half, it would be 6 inches. And then I could put it down, and that's just enough to go over the cover of this. Does that make sense? So this could be the cover, and then this would be the back. So it would be like that. See what I'm saying? And then for this part, I'm going to cover that with something different, either another sheet of paper that will go with this, and then I have to do the inside as well, so I'll have to take measurements and do all that. And then I think I'm going to, for this part, I don't know if I'm going to paint it gold or if I'm going to cover it. I don't know yet. Anyways, I'm going to paint black, let that dry, and then go pick up my kids. Well, go pick up my kids while it is drying. So I have my handy dandy little paint tray. This is like almost gone, but there should be enough in here for me to work on this. I hope. Oh, it's chunky. We don't want chunky. No. Why is that dried up? Ah. Okay. There we go. Got it out. I think it's still going to work because I only need, like I said, to paint like a brush stroke. And it don't have to be perfect either, because I'm going to cover it with the paper and make it look cute. I just don't want, you know, the gray, brown. Just, it looks better with the black showing, I think. Now, I could have done like fabric, which I might do that on the inside. I don't know yet. I'm at a loss right now because a 12 by 12 doesn't quite cover it, but I want the bigger size. And I know this paper mache will cover because I've done it with a coffin box, and I've had this in my stash for 2 years. Because I painted it and then I never used it for what I intended to use it for. So, just gonna do a quick brush and let it dry. So that's all I'm going to paint, okay? And let it dry. Now I'm gonna take the time and do the edges. Yeah, and then I'm gonna flip it when I come back and paint like on the inside too. I don't want to do it now because I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. I might have to paint it all around the edges. I think I might do that. So yeah, I'll be back. Okay, so it is the next day. I have picked my kids up from school. I have painted where I want to put the paint, and then I have left it open to dry. And now it won't close. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. I have not figured that out yet. I don't want it to be flipping up, but I don't know what to do. So I'm gonna continue with it and decorate it. And when I left it open, you can see it was like that, so it could dry, and then the paint like came off here. So I don't know what to do. I want it to stay shut. I could add like a ribbon and then tie it somehow. I don't know. I spent $6.50 on 3 books, but apparently you can't open it and let it dry. So let's decorate and hope for the best. Maybe if I put weight with paper and glue and keep it like this, it might work. So I think what I'll do is the inside first, and then I will do the outside last, so that way it can dry on top. So I have, like I said, gone through my paper pad, and I changed my mind. I was going to use my thing came off. I was going to use this one, but I changed my mind as I was flipping through what I have left, because this paper pad I have used for multiple projects, and I'm going to use this for the cauldron that goes inside, because it's supposed to be a green witch, so everything is going to be green. I might use the purple. I might do one green and one purple. And then I found, I'm going to do this on the inside of my book. So I need to take one of these out. And then I decided, instead of using this one, I'm going to use this one because it has more color. It has the cauldron. It has the ball. And I'm going to cut this in half. So I got to figure out which half or which side I want as my front. So I've got to cut this down in half. So it's going to go 6 inches. And then I will, but I'm going to do this part last. I'm just trying to give you guys an idea what I'm going to do. But I'm going to walk you through it as I do it. And this is like a craft with me thing. I have no idea what I'm doing really. So I've got to decide, do I want this for the cover? And this is 6 inches. So if I put this on, I can kind of go over where it was. No, I can't. It's not going to fold right unless I curl it somehow. It's going to come up. And then when you open it, it's not, yeah. I'm going to have to put some sort of fabric or something over it for the spine. Yeah. So I've got to decide, do I want that as the cover? Or do I want that as the cover? Oh, the choices. So I'm going to cut this right here. I'm going to trim that and set my book aside a little bit out of the way. And then I need to see what size. I should just use my ruler. Yeah, I'm going to use my ruler. Measure twice, cut once, right? So this is 9 inches. So I'm going to cut this down to 9. And then I trim off whatever needs to be trimmed. And then I have just plain gray scrap piece. And then this one I'll do again at 9. Okay, so this is going to give me a little bit of a spider web up here if I want it. But I can also cover that. And I'm probably going to have to take about 1/4 inch off of that. So you're really not going to see much of that spider web. So, I don't know which one I want for my cover and which one I want for the back. The choices. All right, well, let's do the inside because, like I said, I want to do the inside with this. So let me measure. This is 8 by 5.5. All right, so we're gonna go. These set them aside. 8. I think that's the right way. Yes. And then 5.5, and then I'm gonna have to trim it down. I know I do this the hard way because if I was just taking off the 1/4 inch sides, it would fit in, but okay, so this is where I measured from this to this is 8, and then 5.5 here. So now I'm going to take just a 1/8 of an inch or a 1/4 inch. I'll probably just do, I'll do the 1/4 because I painted around just in case. So I'm only taking a 1/4 inch off. And that fits in there perfectly, like that. Yeah. So then, now you're only going to see the black on the edges, not the what do you call it? And then I'm going to do the same for the lid. Oh, but that's got to be bigger. So I'm going to have to use the other one. I can still cut this down and use 4 on the inside. Maybe I should put something else here. No, I'm going to keep it this one because I like this print and I have 2 sheets of it. So we have 8 by 5.5. Oh, but I'm doing this for the, yeah. So now I have to do, this is 8. Okay. And then I have to measure this part. This is, I guess I could go, see my ruler, no, I can't count backwards. So my problem is my ruler starts here and I can't really like measure. It looks like 2.5. I guess I'll go 2.5, but I'm gonna have to cut off probably a 1/4 inch again. So we'll go 8 by 2.5. And then 8 by 2.5 again. Because that's going to be my sides right here and right here. So you see that's kind of where I'm going with this. And then I'm going to cut off 1/4 inch. And then I have to do this and this, which I think, yeah. So we're gonna go 5.5. And then 2.5. Okay, so I think, yeah, so that's what it's going to look like. So now I have to do one more. This is 5.5, and then 2.5. Then I'm going to trim this up. I don't know, maybe I should do something else on the lid part. I'm going to trim this and glue this in, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I thought I would just because this is kind of like a craft with me and kind of like a tutorial. So I'm cutting this off at a 1/4 inch on 2 sides. So 1/4 inch there and a 1/4 inch off there. So I want to do this so that you guys can see, and then if you want to buy these and make your own and do your own project with this, you have measurements and you have an idea of kind of what you're doing here. So it's 5.5 by 2.5, take off a 1/4 inch on 2 sides, and then 8 by 2.5, take off a 1/4 inch on 2 sides, and that is for this portion of the big box. And then this is 8 by 5.5, take off a 1/4 inch on 2 sides. Okay, and then let's glue this in, and I'm just going to do a little bit of glue. I just use Aleene's tacky glue. I bought a big bottle of it, and I just fill up my little glue bottle, and it has lasted me for 2 years and still got probably half of a giant bottle. So very much worth the investment of the big bottle. And then I'm just gluing a little bit along the edges because you don't want it to peel up. And I would recommend using a wet glue, because if you use a like double-sided adhesive, it will hold, but the problem with double-sided adhesive is it never dries, so it can peel up. And you don't need a ton. You just squeeze it out and do a little bit. So it's like really a small, thin little layer, but enough for it to adhere to your project. So that's all the glue I'm doing for the bottom piece. And then we're going to set this in there. Get it wiggled around to where it looks like it's about even all the way around. Because I don't want like a big gap on one side and nothing on the other. So then I'm just going to press it down. And there is the bottom. And then we will do the sides. And I will do that the same way, go around the edge, and then a little in the middle. This is probably the longest part of doing this because I'm using such a small bead of glue. Because if I use a big bead of glue, then it will like bubble up, and that's why I like the smaller beads. And this is like a little, I don't know, like a frosting bottle or something. This one was gifted to me, and I think it's a Babel is what it's called. And I love this one. It gets clogged sometimes with dried glue if I don't put my cap back on, and I store it upside down like this. But I love this bottle. I'm pretty sure it's Babel, maybe? Sugar Bell? Yeah, I think it's Sugar Bell. So that's just small enough. Okay, so it's gonna work because I'm gonna make it work, but 2.5 is not really the size of this because of the way my ruler measured, but it's still gonna work because it's not over the edge right here. If that makes sense. So yeah, I ordered these off of Temu. And I thought that these would be good, but I just don't like how this one, you squeeze it and it just does not quite flow right. So the Sugar Bell bottles are better quality. So I would do the side as 2 1/4. If you're going to cut and you want more of a edge showing. Okay, so now I have this glued, and I'm trying to make sure all the moons are facing, or the, like, not the moons, but the, what do you call this? The floral, whatever that is. So then I'm going to get this in there, a little too far over. All right, I think it's still going to work. Okay, and then I will do that one. So I don't want it like this, you know what I mean? Because now it's like upside down backwards. The only one that should be upside down is the bottom of the book. So we read this way, so this would be the way that the book goes, and this would be the bottom, right? So the bottom can be upside down from the other part of the pattern. And I got to just make sure that I put this on the right side like that, and this one like that, instead of like that, you know what I mean? I hope that makes sense. If you're not using pattern paper like with a direction, then you should be fine. But like this kind of has a direction because they're all going one way. So I just have to be mindful how I put it in. Okay, so I have the inside all put together. Now on this side, if you measured it 2.5, this is perfect for this side because it kind of has a bit of a curve. And so it gives you more of a edge along the side, like it's matted, if that makes sense. So these are going to be 2 1/4, not 2 1/2 on the other sides, if you want more of a matte. And yeah, I like how the inside is looking already. Now I'm going to cut another piece for here, and I will be right back. Okay, so flipping through, and I was going to use the same pattern here on the lid, but then I thought that that might be too much with the moons. So I flipped through and I found this, and I thought this would be perfect, but the spacing on this isn't. So if I did this, it would cut off like the top portion of the mushrooms. So you would only see the very top of the mushroom. You wouldn't see any of this. And I just didn't think that that would look right. You know what I mean? Because you're only getting like the cap. And then if I cut it this way, you wouldn't get the moon. So it would cut it off right there. This one would have been super cute to go with that. But I've decided, because this is going to be either the front or the back cover, that the original one that I was going to use would work in here. So I can put this in, and then it still has a little green magic goes far with that. What do you guys think? Or should I stick with this? I don't know. Now that I'm looking at it, I'm second guessing, and I think I might. Oh, do I need to? Yeah. I already cut the paper down too, but I don't care. I can use this for something else. Okay. I'm going to use this one just because I just think that it's going to work better. Too bad I couldn't like shrink it like this thing down, or you know, the other one. Because it would look so cool. I could put I could just put that on the inside as like a saying. Welcome to the witching hour. I kind of like that one. I don't know. Come gather for a spell. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just going to cut this down and go with this. I think that would probably look best. It coordinates and it's all the same. So let's do this again. We're going to go 9 by 6. And then we will cut it down accordingly. Yeah, I think that would look better, just keeping it the same instead of that. Yeah. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to cut this down 1/4 inch on 2 sides. If you don't want to do like this little strip thing cutting off, you don't have to. You can do the measurements more precise. I just like to measure the full sides and then cut it down later. That's just how I do it. You, by all means, you do you. But yeah, I like how this looks, and I think it's gonna look very nice this way. So. Alright, so I have it glued and I'm trying to press this down and it keeps bubbling up, and I think that may be because of how it dried this way. So I just got to keep pressing it. I think I might lay something flat and heavy on it and let that dry for a little bit, and it's like warped now. So maybe if it warps back or like pushes back, or maybe just dry it this way. I don't know. I want it to stay down like it keeps coming up like here. So I'm going to put like a heavy book on this and let this dry for a little bit, and then I will be back. Okay, so I think it's pretty well dry now. It's been a few minutes or almost an hour, and I set this on it to give it a little bit of weight. So now it's kind of a little more closed. I think when I put the top, I will put this down again and let it dry. So I have cut these down 1/4 inch on 2 sides, because remember I cut them from 6 to 9, and then I cut it down 1/4 inch. So if you wanted to do precise measurements for this box, if you're gonna go and purchase your Michaels paper mache book box, you can do 5 3/4 by 8 3/4, and that will give you the matted sides for this. So I have decided to use this one for the back and this one for the front, and then that way I can, because I think if I decorate it up or do anything, like I probably won't do much, but then it will, I don't know, I just feel like if I did anything over here and then added to it, I don't know, to me that just kind of is weird. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but if I do anything to it, I would rather it be on this side. I don't know why, but I just think the left side would be better. Just my opinion. I will probably do some sort of a title, and then maybe do like stickles or Wink of Stella, something. I will jazz it up a little bit, but not a ton. So I'm going to put my paper on the front and the back. I have the inside done. You guys can see how that is. And I was thinking, instead of doing all the painting and making this your issue, you could probably use just a Sharpie. Like, I think the only one I have up here is red. Yeah. But you could, like, if you're making a Christmas book and you want to use Christmas paper or whatever, just color in, you know, like a 1/2 inch so that it's not seen as this wooden color, unless this is the color that you want to use. Like if you're doing fall, this would be perfect for a fall like gratitude book or something that you're making. So I will glue this on and be right back. Okay, so now that it is pretty much dry, I will take this off, and it is definitely starting to close more. So I think when I go to bed tonight, I'm going to just leave that on there and let it sit overnight and see if that helps to close it. But yeah, it's starting to close better now. So I have put this on the front. This is my cover, and then I have glued this down and put this as my back. So when you're looking at this, you can see the paper on the inside of the book, which does not bother me one bit. Okay. Just if you're doing something patterned and you don't want to see this, then I would paint your inside cover or use your Sharpie and do it long enough so that it does not show like that. That doesn't bother me, and I'm okay with that. So as I was saying with the Sharpie, and I tried it and it works. So where it didn't like paint over, I just kind of went over it with the Sharpie and it soaks right in, matches with the black, and then you don't see it. So it covers it all up and it's good to go. And I really don't care what it looks like because it's going to get covered anyway. So with that being said, I need to figure out how and what I want to do here. And I was thinking like a gold. I want to do something with a gold. And I have this, but I don't know how I would attach it because the glue, if I like cut it down and then put it on there, the glue would seep right through it because it's like a tulle sort of fabric. So I think what I'm going to do is get some gold paint and then do brush strokes to make it look like pages, if that makes sense. And then I'm not sure what I want to do here. I have not decided on this part yet. I might just leave this as paint, and I would go over where I didn't cover very well, because I was going to do paper at first, but then I decided not to do that because when it folds over, when it would open and stuff, it would crease. So if I end up doing a paper, I'm going to have to do it like that, which I might end up doing. Yeah, I think I'll do that. And then I will do the gold brush strokes painting for the pages. So with that being said, I will figure out what I want to do and I will be back. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is cut this down. I have to decide, do I want to do the purple or do I want to do the green? Because I'm going to make 2 cauldrons for the inside, because you're supposed to make witch hats, cauldrons, brooms, potion bottles, and I thought these would be perfect to make the cauldrons out of. And then, like, there's purple here, and then there's like purple tone kind of inside here. So I don't know, do I want to use the purple here? Because we have the purple for the globe, or the green. So the green, I think I'm going to pass on. We're going to go with purple. So I'm going to cut this down to 2.5 inches because that's what the inside was right here. So I'm going to go 9. That's what size this was. And then 2.5. So I think I want to do, we'll just do it this way. We'll cut it down 9. Or should I cut it down 2.5 first and then cut 9? I don't waste more paper. So 2.5. Ooh, I like that. And then I just have to decide, do I want this or, because this kind of goes with this. So I think I'm going to go like that, and that will be my spine. So I'm going to cut this in this direction. To the 9. Perfect. And then, yeah, this will be the bottom of the book, and that will be the top. So put that away. And let's see. Yeah, and then I'm still going to have, like, the edges are still going to be black. So that's how it's going to look. I need to cut it down just a bit on the top. Maybe I'll go on the bottom a little bit more and keep it lighter. Yeah, so I'm going to cut this off just a tad, but you guys can see kind of how this is going to look. I like it. Okay, so I will do that and I will be back. All right, so I have it cut down to the size that I want it. And I'm going to glue it on here. Now this has a curve, so I think how I'm going to do that, because it's longer, and normally when I curl paper I will use like my bone folder, but my bone folder is not long enough. So I'm going to just run it on the edge of my desk. I could probably use that. That might work. To just kind of push and fold. Yeah, that's not gonna work either. Maybe. Yeah, it's not gonna work. So I'm going to just use the edge of my desk and go down. I want it rounded so that it will stay on the spine of the book, but I don't want it like creased, if that makes sense. Like, I don't want the creases to show, and it's kind of starting to, so I guess we'll just glue it on and hope for the best, because it's not really working. Maybe if I just roll it. No, that's still gonna. All right, so that's just gonna be some finagling that you'll have to do if you decide to go that route. So now I'm gonna use my big bottle of glue because it will come out faster, and then I'm just going to use my finger to smooth it out because I don't want this big old clump bead of glue because it will wrinkle up the paper. So get me a baby wipe out. Clean off my finger when I get done. And then I'm just going to smooth this all out. And then that way the whole thing will stick. I don't care if it gets on my desk because that's what the baby wipe's for, to clean up my mess afterwards. But that way, if I get like the whole thing saturated with the glue, then it should stick better to the spine of the book and not peel up. Okay, so going to set it down and clean up so I don't get glue all over the book. All right, so now I want to just set it down and try to line it up with the edge of the papers on both sides. And just push it and smooth it out. And it's working. Yay! Oh no, I got glue on the outside. Okay, so I'm liking how it looks. So there is the spine. Cute! Alright, so I really like how that looks. Alright, I have this gold paint, and I think any paint would work, but here's what I'm thinking I want to do. I have a big paintbrush, and I think what I want to do is just do brush strokes. I don't know if I can show you this, but just do brush strokes like this and make it look like a page. That's my hope anyways. So this is very, very thick glue, and I don't want a ton on here. I just want it to look like the pages. Oh, this is going to look great. I'll show you when I get it finished, and then I will let it dry. And it's the next day, so now it's time to go pick up my kids from school. So this is what it looks like. I love it. All right, so I'm going to work on this, and then I will come back and show you what it looks like all dry and finished. All right, so I painted and I messed up, and I want to show you guys before I finish letting this sit and dry. So I love how it looks, and I did get some on here, so I'm going to use my Sharpie and color that in. And then I also want to show you, if you paint and you have paper, make sure you open your book, because the paint will get on your book, on your paper. And I tried to clean it off with a baby wipe, and it took some of the finish off of the paper. So now I gotta see if I have enough of this, which I don't think that I do. I think it's gonna be too short. I might. yeah, I'm gonna have to cut this down and go over it again. Good thing. So yeah, it is what it is. Not a big deal, but I'm gonna cut this and then go over this piece just to cover this up because I don't like that. And then I'm going to color this in with my Sharpie. I also tried to use the baby wipe and clean it off here, but it wasn't really working, so we'll just go along and color this all in, get it all finished. I could also use a black paint and go over it, but I don't know, kind of over the whole painting thing. I should have done the black paint and the gold paint at the same time and just let it all dry and been done with it. But it is what it is, not a big deal. It's all learning curve, and that's why I'm doing this video, so that you guys can get ideas for your books if you decide to do one. I think these would make great like recipe books. Like you could throw recipe cards in here and use it for like holiday recipes, or because I got 3 books in this collection and I think I might use one of them in my Christmas faking it through the holidays / out faking, and now we are baking through the holidays. I think I'm going to use one of the books for that swap. There. So we'll let the Sharpie marker dry, and that will look so much better. And then I got to go through and do this side. So that is where I'm at, and I will be back. Okay, so now that it is all dry and I can touch it, there's no wet paint, I wanted to show you what the finished result is. I'm going to make a reveal video of everything that I put inside and how I decorate the top. But I just wanted to show everyone how this is looking, and I'm pretty happy with the final result. And all I have to do now is embellish it up and fill it. And I love it. I just am happy with the way that it turned out. I really, really love how this turned out. And after putting this on and looking it over, the only thing I think that I could have done or should have done different is this piece here with the purple. I should have gone with the green, because then it would just look like the spillage of whatever's in the cauldron. But in the end, it still matches. It still looks good. It still goes with the purple hues inside. So it looks good. And it could be, you know, the purple cloudiness from the wall. So yeah, that's the box. This is the biggest one. And like I said, if you want your measurements and you want to do it similar, that's how I did it. And that's the best way to go about it. Learn from my mistakes and try to make one yourself. I might do another tutorial when I decorate the other ones. But for right now, here is this one. I love it. Thanks for watching. Bye.